Have you ever felt completely alone, even in a crowded room? For many people living with Parkinson's disease, this feeling isn't occasional, it's constant. Tremors, stiffness, and speed changes often draw unwanted attention, while hospital stays and physical limitations make social connection harder. Over time, this isolation turns into something dangerous: loneliness, a symptom that can worsen depression, anxiety, and even the disease itself. Hello, my name is Chahat and I'm excited to share our research on this important issue. This summer, I worked under the supervision of Dr. Veronica Bruno alongside my teammates Laiba and Jenny on a project titled Bridges in Parkinson's: Understanding and Addressing Loneliness. Parkinson's is a brain disorder that affects movement, balance, and coordination. It also impacts independence, communication, and confidence. Loneliness, on the other hand, is the feeling that your relationships aren't as close or meaningful as you would like them to be. In Parkinson's, loneliness is more than just a feeling. It affects both mental and physical health, lowering the quality of life and making it hard for people with Parkinson's to manage their condition. That's why our team aimed to answer three questions. Is loneliness among people with Parkinson's disease? What factors such as depression are linked to loneliness, and what interventions have been explored to reduce loneliness in this population? To answer our questions, we conducted a systematic search of the scientific literature using the Medline database through PubMed. We looked for studies that focused on Parkinson's disease, loneliness, and social isolation. We included studies that involved adults living with Parkinson's or related conditions. These studies use different research approaches, such as observational, interventional, qualitative, or mixed methods. This title, abstract, and full text were carefully reviewed by two independent screeners, and if there was any disagreement, a third reviewer helped make the final decision. The data that was extracted from the papers included author, year, country, study design, sample characteristics, loneliness measure, key findings, and reported association with clinical or psychosocial variables. We use narrative and thematic analysis to organize and interpret the findings. In other words, we looked for common patterns and themes across the studies. So here's what we found. In total, 232 studies were screened and 24 met the inclusion criteria. Most were observational studies published in English, with approximately 71% reported funding sources. Of these, 4 studies between 2020 and 2023 provided quantitative data on loneliness in Parkinson's disease, while 20 studies offered qualitative insights into lived experiences and potential interventions. Reported prevalence of loneliness among individuals with Parkinson ranged from 24% to just under 30% across 11 studies. Several studies also identified significant associations between loneliness and adverse outcomes such as reduced quality of life, increased depression, anxiety, and poor functional status. One prospective cohort study found loneliness to be a predictor of developing Parkinson's disease, with a hazard ratio of 1.25, suggesting a 25% higher risk of developing Parkinson's among individuals experiencing loneliness. In terms of intervention, very few were identified and none were randomized or controlled trials. Only 17% of the studies used formal bias assessment tools and 13% disclosed conflict of interest. Considerable heterogeneity was observed across studies in how loneliness was defined and measured, making direct comparisons or meta-analysis challenging. This review shows that loneliness is both common and significant for people living with Parkinson's disease. It is linked to lower quality of life, more depression and anxiety, and may even raise the risk of developing Parkinson's itself. However, the research on this topic is still limited. Studies use different ways to define and measure loneliness, and many don't fully account for other factors that might affect the results. This makes it hard to know the true case and effect relationship. We also found very few intervention studies. Some explored digital or community-based programs, especially after COVID-19 era, but mostly lacked strong evaluation or long-term follow-up. Overall, it is clear that loneliness is an important but often overlooked part of Parkinson's care. By treating loneliness as a serious motor symptom and by improving research and interventions, we can help people with Parkinson's feel more connected, confident, and supported in their daily lives.